happening.
I don't believe that to be true.
Big questions and answers.
I think that's exactly the point, Michael.
And the big names who are making the decisions coming to the table.
It's always great to be on KMOX.
KMOX is the voice of St. Louis because we ask the big names big questions on your behalf.
I'm happy to be on anytime.
For local answers and local understanding, it's always KMOX.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
Nobody on. The pitch is tapped toward third. That's played by Durbin, and he throws just in time to get Donovan. This ball game has come to an end. The Brewers got 3 in the first and 4 in the fourth inning, on the way to a 7-1 win.
Well, hi, everyone. Welcome into the Extra Innings Show. It's presented by Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. I'm Joe Pott from Busch Stadium. Glad to have you along, and you can be part of the show. 314-436-7900. That's one way to do it. Also, you can do it via the social media channels, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or KMOX Sports on X. We are streaming live right there. I will see your comments. We can respond to those comments. You can also just tweet directly at me or use X, however you care to call it. It's at Joe Pott on air. So those are also good. I can respond there as well. I said this at the beginning of the network show. I think today is really just a case of the Brewers got what they expected, what they wanted, ultimately what they needed from Jose Quintana. The Cardinals did not from Eric Fetty with regard to the outcome, with regard to the runs given up, those kind of things, because they did get length out of Eric Fetty, and that's a big deal. The other thing they got today was a really good performance from 3 guys out of the bullpen. Forget how short or long it may have been, because JoJo Romero was in there for his minimum 3 batters, but they got, Oliver Marmol even said in the postgame show that they got what they wanted out of JoJo Romero. He got a strikeout of Yelich, the left-hander, to finish off that 6th inning. He faced the right-hander in Sal Frelick. He did give up a walk in there, but ultimately they got a scoreless outing from him. They got a tremendous outing from Matt Swanson, who came in, got the last 2 hitters in the 7th inning, gets a perfect 1, 2, 3, 8th inning, so 1 2/3 innings from him. John King gives up a leadoff hit to Jackson Churio, but then retires the side after that. So your bullpen did its job, and especially at this point in the season, you need to start seeing some of those things, and especially as we are told that they need to get some of these guys right, okay? You can only do so much by bringing somebody up from Memphis. So they did that with Riley O'Brien. They sent Ryan Fernandez down. He can work on the things that he needs to work on in Memphis. But you still have a JoJo Romero who you're going to depend on in some high leverage situations. And so you ultimately have to find a way to get him right. This is a good step in getting him right. Just starting to pile up those positive outings are important for bullpen guys. Same as you hear with basketball players, right? Sometimes you just need to see the basketball go through the net. Sometimes you got to see the puck go in the net if you're a hockey player. Sometimes you got to just get that punch out, and you got to just get that positive result if you are a bullpen guy, if you are a pitcher, and especially one that's going to be depended on in some high leverage situations. And the Cardinals saw that today. So yes, it was a loss. You didn't get a great outing from Eric Fetty, but you do get a nice outing from the bullpen. You do get a long enough outing from Eric Fetty, and I think that's important. I mentioned it yesterday. You have to keep getting length from your starters, and when you get it on a day like today where your starter wasn't as sharp as you'd like, didn't necessarily have the outing that you would like, you still got the length out of Eric Fetty, and ultimately that will pay dividends for this team moving forward. So I think that's really the telltale for today. You get another series win here at home. So you end up 10-5, rather. It would have been 11-4, 10-5 at home with the win here this afternoon. You've got to go on the road and start picking up wins there. We talked about it in the pregame show, talked about it yesterday in the postgame show. Ultimately, you're going to have to find a way to start winning some of those close games. The Cardinals were 0-5 in one-run games to start the season. After this series with Milwaukee, they've picked up 2 one-run wins, did it on Friday night, did it yesterday afternoon as well. So again, making progress there, starting to do some of those things. And those are all the things that, if you have listened to Oliver Marmol after games over the first month of this season, that's the things that he's been pointing to, is that those things are going to come. John Mozeliak said as much earlier this morning with Tom Ackerman on Sports on a Sunday Morning. When you start seeing that there's these close losses, ultimately those can become close wins. Those can become wins, period. And that's what he expects. That's what I think this team expects. So I'm still not, completely down on this team, as I know a lot of folks are. I think there's a lot of good that comes out of this, even on a day like today. You get Nootbaar on base 3 more times out of that leadoff spot. In fact, Lars Nootbaar, one of the best at getting on base out of the leadoff spot that in baseball this year, but also that the Cardinals have had, period. So he's on base now 52 times this season. That's the most among major league leadoff hitters. And he has surpassed Fernando Vina. That's all the way back in 2000 for the Redbirds for the most times reaching base as a leadoff hitter in the month of April. Include March there, obviously, for a couple of games. But that is important. You have found a legitimate leadoff man in Lars Nootbaar, and he is doing exactly the things that you want him to be doing. We'll take a break here on the Extra Innings Show. When we come back again, you can be a part of this, 314-436-7900, or get in on the stream. We're on Facebook, on YouTube, on KMOX Sports, on X. You can comment right there, and we can talk about it. If you want to be a part of it, go ahead and do that. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More breaking down of this one as the Cards fall to the Brewers 7-1. It's the Extra Innings Show. I'm Joe Pott from Busch Stadium. We're coming back on KMOX.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. From startups to established businesses to estate plans, we are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. With offices in Missouri and Illinois, you can conveniently visit us today at sandbergphoenix.com. That's sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
There's a big red barn where you say green, Norm's Bargain Barn. On discount windows, doors, and things, Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
Hey, facility managers. At Graybar, we're not just one of the largest distributors of electrical and datacom parts in North America. We're your connection to help make your buildings smarter. We work with best-in-class manufacturers to supply products for wireless, security, renewable energy, lighting, and critical power solutions. And we have a network of integrators nationwide that can help make it work all together. So, the next time you're thinking about making your building smarter, think Graybar, and we'll help you get connected. Visit graybar.com/connected buildings to learn more.
104.1 FM, KMOX, News, Talk, Sports. Now, back to the Verizon Extra Innings Show.
Which is hit into center field for a base hit. Contreras has now hit in 9 straight games as he drives that one through the middle, and the Cardinals have a couple of base runners.
You heard right there. That's Rick Horton with the call here on KMOX as Wilson Contreras extends his hitting streak to 9 games with that 7th inning base hit. He also matched a season high today with 2 walks. So another positive there. You get someone like Wilson Contreras going. Brendan Donovan as your only RBI on a nice double in the 5th inning. Lars Nootbaar, by the way, scored from first on that. Right off the bat, I remember thinking, man, this could score a run. And it did. Nootbaar was off and running with that one, and Donovan picking up another big hit for the Cards. Pedro Pajes was on base twice. He had a base hit, and Jordan Walker had a base hit in the 2nd, but had a hard hit ball in the 4th inning as well that was caught at the warning track. So there are some positive things going on with this Redbirds team. I know it's not positive ultimately when you lose a game, as the Cardinals did 7-1 today, but really Eric Fetty just kind of got jumped on early, walked a couple of guys. They took advantage, and that's always going to hurt you. Walks in this game tend to come back and haunt you, tend to come back and bite you, as they did with Eric Fetty here this afternoon. And if you take that away, well, it's a much better outing. He had a couple of hits there to start the fourth inning, and that's where the Brewers were able to add on. But there still are some things you take out of this one. One of the things you can take out of this that's not positive, and we've seen a lot of this obviously this year, is runners left on base and the runners in scoring position stat. 11 for the Cardinals. So they left 11 and they were 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. That is certainly less than ideal. So that's still happening. I do think it's happening less than it did a season ago and certainly 2 seasons ago when it was really an issue, but it is continuing to happen. It is the Extra Innings Show. We are presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. I'm Joe Pott from Busch Stadium. That's Jonathan Camp there. If you're watching the stream, he's been keeping us on all afternoon, and we certainly appreciate all that he does for us each and every time that we're doing it. Let's take a look at what's on deck. It's brought to you by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best, chesterfieldfence.com. So what's on deck is a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. How are you feeling about that Reds series? Because the Reds are right there as well. They're 14-13, 1 under, so just a couple of games better than the Redbirds going into this week. But maybe this is where you can turn it around and start feeling a little bit better about yourself with a couple of road wins, perhaps a series win at Cincinnati, much like I was saying with the relievers, right? Sometimes you just need to feel a good finish, a good dub on the road, and maybe that'll roll into a little bit of a streak on the road. Andre Palante's got the ball tomorrow night, 2-1 with a 4.05 ERA. He'll go up against the right-hander Nick Martinez. Martinez is 0-3 with a 5.4 ERA. Nothing like a small ballpark maybe to get you going offensively, right? Or have you feeling good about yourselves offensively? Because I don't know that this Cardinals team necessarily needs to get going offensively. It has hit the ball quite well so far this season. And you would expect that to continue in Cincinnati, a place that obviously the Cardinals have played a lot. They are familiar with, and they've done some good things there in the past. And so you would expect that to continue as well for the Redbirds. A 4-game series at Cincinnati. Big thanks to the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, to Rick Horton, to Jim Jackson, to Mike Claiborne, and to Kyle Sixta, all up in the booth here at Busch Stadium. And Kyle Sixta is the guy in the clubhouse with the post-game audio. As I mentioned, the aforementioned Jonathan Kemp keeping us locked in all afternoon here from the studio. I'm Joe Pott. Once again, tomorrow night, it's a 5:40 first pitch with the pregame show getting underway at 4:45. The Cards and the Reds. That's going to be the start of a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds, and then the Cards will return right back here to Busch Stadium to start a homestand next weekend. Keep it right here on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Celebrating their 57th year in business, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been one of St. Louis's top names in home improvement with a commitment to put quality and professionalism